The Forgotten Legacy, Chapter 1, Echoes in the Void. The silence of deep space pressed against the hull of the Resilience like a living thing, broken only by the soft hum of life support systems and the distant whisper of plasma drives. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, her weathered hands clasped behind her back as she gazed through the viewport at the swirling nebula that stretched endlessly before them. The Crimson Veil, they called it, a graveyard of gas and cosmic dust where no sane captain would venture. But sanity was a luxury humanity could no longer afford. "Admiral," Commander Marcus Torres called from the communication station, his voice tight with barely contained excitement. "We're picking up that signal again. It's definitely human in origin." Sarah's heart skipped. After 3 years of devastating losses to the Dominion, after watching entire colonies reduced to ash and glass, the possibility of finding other survivors seemed almost too cruel to hope for. The signal had first appeared 2 weeks ago, a faint, coded transmission that spoke of coordinates deep within the outer rim, in a system that didn't appear on any star chart. "Are you certain?" she asked, though she could see the answer in Marcus's eyes. "Yes, ma'am. The encryption pattern matches pre-war human protocols. Someone out there is calling for help, or trying to warn us away." The bridge fell silent except for the soft beeping of instruments. Sarah closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of every soul under her command, the last remnants of the Terran Federation fleet, refugees and warriors alike, all looking to her for guidance in humanity's darkest hour. "Navigator, plot a course through the nebula," she commanded. "All ships, maintain formation. If there are survivors out there, we're going to find them." As the small fleet of 7 vessels, all that remained of humanity's once mighty armada, deeper into the Crimson Veil, the nebula seemed to part before them like curtains on a stage. Strange electromagnetic phenomena danced across their screens, and more than one crew member whispered prayers to whatever gods might still be listening. Hours passed in tense silence until Lieutenant Eva Kozlov at the sensor station suddenly gasped, "Admiral, you need to see this." The main view screen flickered to life, displaying a tactical hologram that made every person on the bridge draw in a sharp breath. There, hidden within the heart of the nebula, lay a star system that shouldn't exist. 3 planets orbiting a dying star, their surfaces obscured by layers of artificial interference that spoke of advanced technology. "Scan for life signs," Sarah ordered, her voice steady despite the thundering of her heart. "I'm reading. Millions of them," Eva reported, her voice filled with wonder. "All human, Admiral. There's an entire civilization down there." Chapter 2, The World That Time Forgot. The Resilience descended through the atmosphere of the 3rd planet like a falling star. Its escort fighters spread in protective formation around the larger vessel. Sarah stood in the shuttle bay, her hand resting on the grip of her sidearm. As she watched the planet's surface resolve through the viewport, what she saw defied belief. Gleaming spires of metal and glass stretched toward the sky, their surfaces shimmering with energy fields that bent light itself. Cities sprawled across continents in perfect geometric patterns, connected by transport tubes that pulsed with streams of light. Gardens cascaded down the sides of towers in impossible spirals of green, and the very air seemed to shimmer with barely contained power. "This is impossible," breathed Dr. Alina Vasquez, the fleet's chief scientist, as she studied her scanner readings. "The energy signatures, Admiral. Some of these structures are generating power levels that exceed anything in our databases." Sarah nodded grimly. In their desperate war against the Dominion, those reptilian overlords who had conquered half the galaxy, humanity had been forced to rely on salvage technology and desperate improvisation. Their ships were held together, with prayers and determination, their weapons jury-rigged from mining equipment and civilian reactors. But this was something else entirely. The shuttle touched down on a landing platform that materialized beneath them with a soft chime of welcoming tones. As the ramp lowered, Sarah found herself face to face with a delegation of humans who looked as if they had stepped from humanity's golden age. Their leader was a tall woman with silver hair and eyes that held depths of knowledge Sarah couldn't fathom. She wore robes of flowing material that seemed to shift and change color in the light, and when she spoke, her voice carried the weight of centuries. "Welcome, Admiral Chen," she said, and Sarah's blood ran cold at the casual use of her name. "We have been waiting for you. My name is Dr. Lydia Thorne, Director of the Haven Project. We have much to discuss, and very little time." "How do you know who I am?" Sarah demanded, her hand moving instinctively to her weapon. Dr. Thorne smiled sadly. "Because we've been watching the war, Admiral. Every battle, every loss, every small victory. We've been waiting for the moment when humanity would be desperate enough to search the forbidden regions of space. We've been waiting for you to find us. She gestured toward the towering city around them. Welcome to Haven, Admiral. The last repository of humanity's true heritage. Chapter 3, Secrets of the Ancients, the underground complex beneath. Haven stretched 4 kilometers in every direction, a vast network of laboratories and workshops that hummed with barely contained energy. Sarah walked beside Dr. Thorne through corridors lined with holographic displays showing research data that made her head spin. Your ancestors were brilliant, Dr. Thorne explained as they passed a room where technicians worked on what appeared to be a weapon that crackled with controlled lightning. When the first Dominion scouts appeared in human space 50 years ago, a secret project was initiated. The brightest minds of the Federation were brought here, to the edge of known space, to develop technologies that could save our species. Sarah paused before a massive viewport that looked out into a chamber where a sleek starship was under construction. Unlike the crude, utilitarian vessels of the current human fleet, this ship was a work of art. Its hull flowed like liquid. Metal and energy conduits pulsed beneath its surface like veins of fire. The Prometheus-class battleship, Dr. Thorne said with pride, equipped with quantum displacement drives, adaptive armor plating, and the most advanced AI ever created by human hands. One of these ships could take on an entire Dominion battle group. One ship. Sarah's voice was skeptical. She had seen Dominion dreadnoughts, massive vessels bristling with weapons that could crack moons. Doctor, I've fought the Dominion for 3 years. I've seen what their ships can do. Dr. Thorne's expression hardened. Then you've seen them use our own stolen technology against us, Admiral. Everything the Dominion claims as their innovation was taken from conquered species. Their weapons, their shields, their faster-than-light drives, all stolen. But this, she gestured toward the ship, this is purely human innovation, and it's just the beginning. They continued deeper into the complex, passing laboratories where scientists worked on projects that seemed to border on the miraculous. Sarah saw energy weapons that could punch through matter at the subatomic level, defensive systems that created pockets of folded space-time, and AI cores that gleamed with an almost organic intelligence. The Prometheus AI, Dr. Thorne explained as they stopped before a chamber containing a sphere of crystalline material that pulsed with inner light. It can coordinate the movements of an entire fleet with perfect precision, predict enemy tactics with 97% accuracy, and adapt to new threats in real. It's not just a computer, Admiral, it's evolution. Sarah stared at the sphere, feeling a chill run down her spine. And the genetic research, yes. Dr. Thorne led her to another section where medical bays hummed with activity. We've unlocked the full potential of human physiology. Enhanced reflexes, improved cognitive function, resistance to radiation and toxins. Our soldiers don't just fight better, they think faster, heal quicker, and survive in environments that would kill unmodified humans. At what cost? Sarah asked quietly. Dr. Thorne paused, and for the first time, her confident demeanor faltered. Every breakthrough requires sacrifice, Admiral. We've learned to enhance life, but we've also learned that some knowledge comes with a price. Before Sarah could ask what she meant, alarms began blaring throughout the complex. Red lights bathed the corridors in an ominous glow as automated voices announced, "Alert, Dominion fleet detected approaching system. All personnel to battle stations." Dr. Thorne's face went pale. They found us. Chapter 4, The Dominion Strikes High. Admiral Kekstar stood on the bridge of the Eternal Dominance, his scaled hide gleaming in the light of the ship's displays. The massive Dominion dreadnought cut through space like a blade, its dark hull bristling with weapons that had reduced countless worlds to rubble. "Report," he hissed, his forked tongue tasting the air for signs of weakness. "The human signals originate from the third planet," reported his tactical officer, a reptilian creature whose eyes never left his instruments. Scans indicate advanced technology and a significant population. Estimates suggest several million humans. Kekstar's lips pulled back in what might have been a smile, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth. Millions of humans, hiding in the dark like vermin. How ... appropriate. Behind him, the holographic display showed the Dominion fleet in all its terrible glory. 50 ships of various classes, from sleek destroyers to massive battle cruisers. It was a force capable of sterilizing entire star systems, and it had been dispatched for one purpose: to ensure that humanity's secrets died with them. Orders. "Hi, Admiral," the tactical officer asked. Kekstar studied the tactical display, his cold eyes calculating. The humans had evaded the Dominion for too long, had cost them too many ships and soldiers with their desperate guerrilla tactics. But this was an opportunity to end the human resistance once and for all. Surround the planet, he commanded. Nothing gets in or out. Then begin orbital bombardment of all major population centers. I want those humans to watch their precious colony burn before we finish them. And the human fleet, sir. Kek's claws extended slightly. 7 ships against 50. Let them come. Their sacrifice will serve as a fitting end to this pathetic species story. As the Dominion fleet moved into attack formation, sensors across Haven screamed warnings of the approaching doom. In the underground command center, Sarah stood beside Dr. Thorne, watching as tactical displays showed the enemy ships taking positions around the planet. 50 ships, Marcus reported grimly from his station. Admiral, we can't fight that many. We need to evacuate whatever we can and run. No, Dr. Thorne said firmly. Haven has defenses you haven't seen yet, and your fleet, ... She turned to Sarah with determination blazing in her eyes. Your fleet is about to become something the galaxy has never witnessed. What are you talking about? Sarah demanded. Doctor. Thorne's fingers flew over her control panel, and the main display shifted to show the human ships still in orbit. We've been monitoring your vessel since you arrived, Admiral. Every system, every component. In the past 6 hours, we've been making ... improvements. Sarah's jaw dropped as she watched streams of Haven's nanobots flowing over her ships like silver mercury. The crude armor plating of the Resilience was being reinforced and restructured. Weapon systems were being upgraded, and new components were being integrated into hulls that had been patched and repatched a dozen times. You're weaponizing our fleet, she breathed. We're giving you the tools to fight back, Dr. Thorne corrected. Every ship in your fleet now carries quantum torpedoes, adaptive shields, and targeting systems that can track individual particles. Your crews are being enhanced with neural implants that will allow them to interface directly with the new AI systems. Through the viewport, the first salvo from the Dominion fleet lit up the night sky like falling stars. Energy beams and kinetic projectiles rained down on Haven's shield generators, causing the protective barrier around the planet to flicker and strain. Admiral, came the voice of Captain Rivera from the Defiance. My ship. What have you done to my ship? The displays are showing power levels I've never seen before. Sarah looked at Dr. Thorne, seeing her own reflection in the other woman's determined eyes. Doctor, if we do this, if we use these weapons, there's no going back, is there? No, Dr. Thorne admitted. But Admiral, humanity is already past the point of no return. We can die as we are, or we can evolve into something that can survive. The choice is yours. Above them, the planet's shields began to fail under the relentless Dominion bombardment. Cities that had stood for centuries started to burn, and millions of innocent lives hung in the balance. Sarah closed her eyes, feeling the weight of her species' future pressing down on her shoulders. When she opened them again, her voice was steel. All ships. This is Admiral Chen. Prepare for combat. We're going to show the Dominion what happens when you corner humanity. Chapter 5, Evolution of Warfare. Transformation of the human fleet was like watching caterpillars become butterflies. Instruments of destruction, capable of reshaping the laws of physics. Sarah stood on the bridge of the Resilience, but it no longer felt like the same ship she had commanded for 3 years. The neural interface Dr. Thorne's people had installed connected her directly to the ship's new AI systems, and the sensation was overwhelming. She could feel every weapon charging, every shield generator humming with power, every thrust vector of the engines as if they were extensions of her own body. Admiral Marcus reported, his voice filled with wonder. All ships report ready for combat. The crew. They're adapting to the enhancements faster than anyone thought possible. Through the fleet's shared consciousness, another gift from Haven's technologies, Sarah could sense her other captains. Captain Rivera of the Defiance was like a burning star of determination. Commander Jackson of the Retribution radiated cold calculation. Each of them was still human, but they were something more now. Dominion fleet is moving into final attack position, Lieutenant Kozlov reported. Hi, Admiral Kekster is hailing us. Put him through. The view screen shimmered, revealing the reptilian face of their enemy. Kekstar's yellow eyes held the casual cruelty of a predator that had never known defeat. Admiral Chen, he hissed, his translated words dripping with disdain. You have led your species on a futile chase across the stars. This ends now. Surrender, and I will grant your people a quick death. Sarah stepped forward, her enhanced reflexes making every movement feel fluid and precise. Hi, Admiral. You've made one critical error in your calculations. And what might that be? Human. Sarah smiled, and for the first time in 3 years, it was the smile of a predator. You assumed we were still the same species you've been hunting. She cut the transmission and turned to her crew. All ships, engage the enemy. Show them what humanity has become. The battle that followed would be remembered in the annals of galactic history as the moment everything changed. The human ships moved with inhuman precision, their quantum drives allowing them to fold space and appear behind enemy formations before the Dominion could react. The Resilience fired its first quantum torpedo, and Sarah watched in fascination as the weapon phased through the Dominion dreadnought's shields as if they weren't there. The explosion that followed wasn't just destructive, it was surgical, tearing apart molecular bonds and reducing a kilometer-long warship to its component atoms in seconds. Impossible, came Kextar's roar over the comm channels. No human technology can penetrate our defenses. You're right, Sarah replied as her ship danced between enemy fire with impossible grace. It can't, but we're not just human anymore. The Dominion fleet tried to adapt, their commanders throwing everything they had at the transformed human ships. Plasma cannons that could melt mountains barely scratched the adaptive armor. Kinetic projectiles were deflected by gravitational fields that bent space itself. And when the humans fired back, entire Dominion vessels simply ceased to exist. Captain Rivera's Defiance phased through solid matter, emerging inside a Dominion cruiser and detonating a quantum charge that turned the enemy ship inside out. Commander Jackson used his ship's new temporal manipulation systems to move so fast he appeared to be in 3 places at once, each phantom ship launching devastating attacks. But it was the AI systems that truly turned the tide. The Prometheus intelligence predicted every Dominion move 3 steps in advance, coordinating the human fleet with a precision that made them move like a single organism. When Kextar tried to ram one of the smaller human ships, the AI had already calculated the trajectory and moved the target ship out of the way while positioning 2 others to catch the dreadnought in a crossfire. Fall back, Kextar screamed as his fleet began to disintegrate around him. All ships, emergency jump to hyperspace. But the humans weren't done. Sarah felt the collective will of her enhanced crew, felt their shared desire for justice for every world the Dominion had burned, every life they had taken. No, she said quietly, her voice carrying across the fleet's neural network. Today, we end this. The human ships moved as one, their quantum fields interfering with the Dominion's hyperspace drives. Ships that tried to jump found themselves trapped in normal space, their engines overloading and exploding. Others were caught in temporal loops, forced to relive their destruction over and over. When the battle ended 40 minutes later, 50 Dominion ships had been reduced to debris and cosmic dust. Not a single human vessel had been lost. Chapter 6. The Price of Evolution in the Aftermath of the Battle. Sarah stood in Haven's central plaza, watching rescue teams work to save survivors from the Dominion bombardment. The planet's shields had held long enough to prevent total devastation, but the cost in lives was still staggering. Dr. Thorne approached, her robes singed and her face drawn with exhaustion. The casualties are lower than we feared, she reported. Maybe 10,000 dead, twice that many injured. It could have been so much worse. Sarah nodded, but her enhanced sensors picked up something in the other woman's tone. But the genetic modifications we used on your crews, they're not permanent, Dr. Thorne admitted. The neural interfaces are burning out their brain tissue. They have maybe weeks before the enhancements kill them. The words hit Sarah like a physical blow. You're saying my people are dying. I'm saying they chose to die to save their species, Dr. Thorne corrected gently. Admiral, we didn't have time to perfect the process. Your crews knew the risks when they accepted the modifications. Sarah closed her eyes, feeling the neural link that connected her to her fleet. She could sense her captains and crews, could feel their satisfaction at the victory they had won. But underneath that, she could also feel something else, a burning sensation, like fire spreading through neural pathways. How long, she asked. For you, maybe a month. You're stronger than most. For the others, Dr. Thorne's voice trailed off. Sarah opened her eyes and looked up at the stars, where the wreckage of the Dominion fleet still glowed with residual energy. It was worth it, she said finally. We proved that humanity can evolve, can become something greater than what we were. Now we have to make sure that evolution continues. The research data from Haven is already being transmitted to the other human colonies, Dr. Thorne assured her. What we've learned here about genetics, about AI, about quantum physics, it will spread. The next generation of humans will be even stronger than you are now. And the Dominion, Dr. Thorne's expression hardened. They'll never see us coming. By the time they realize what humanity has become, it will be too late. Over the following days, as Sarah's enhanced fleet prepared to carry the battle to other Dominion strongholds, word of the victory at Haven spread throughout human space. Colony worlds that had been cowering in fear began to hope again. Scientists worked frantically to replicate Haven's technologies, and somewhere in the depths of space, other human fleets began their own transformations. The war was far from over, but the balance had shifted. Humanity was no longer just fighting for survival, they were fighting to reclaim their rightful place among the stars. On her final night at Haven, Sarah stood on the observation deck of the Resilience, watching the planet's lights twinkle. Below, the neural interface hummed in her skull, already beginning to show signs of strain, but she felt no regret. Marcus joined her at the viewport, his own enhancements making him move with predatory grace. Admiral, the fleet is ready to depart. Our next target is the Dominion staging area at Kepler's edge. Sarah nodded. And after that, we keep pushing until we reach their homeworld, Marcus replied. Until every last one of them knows what it means to threaten humanity. Sarah smiled, and in that smile was the promise of evolution, of transformation, of a species that had found its true strength in the darkest hour. Then let's go show the galaxy what humans can really do. As the enhanced human fleet departed, Haven carrying with them the hopes and dreams of their entire species, they left behind more than just a hidden colony. They left behind the old humanity, the species that had been content to be prey. What emerged from that nebula was something new, something deadly, something that would make the Dominion rue the day they had chosen to hunt humanity among the stars. The forgotten legacy had been awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same. The transformation of humanity had begun, but the true test lay ahead. For in the vast darkness between the stars, the Dominion Empire was awakening to a new reality. They were no longer the hunters. They had become the hunted. The end.